watching Mission 2024. I'm Preeti Choudhry. Let me quickly take you through the headlines. Parliamentary politics erupts over new Sansad. Congress lists 19 parties that are set to boycott Parliament inauguration on May 28th. Naya Sansad to get ancient sceptre Sengol, a symbol of freedom in ancient Chola era, presented to Jawaharlal Nehru by a seer in 1947. Shiva Maya Sarkar mulls overtaking Karnataka hijab ban via legal route to amend law, calls hijab ban unconstitutional. Congress MP Adhiranjan Choudhry calls Prime Minister Modi pagal, defense statement, and says only echoed public sentiment. Gyanvapi Rao reignites mosque committee, filed fresh plea in court, says no shivling in mosque area. Muslim side also claim Aurangzeb was not cruel and did not demolish any temple. Prime Minister Modi concludes Australia visit, marking an end to his three-nation world tour. Holds bilateral with Australian Prime Minister and demands strict action against temple vandalism.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मंदिरों पर होने वाले हमलों और अलगाववादी तत्वों की गतिविधियों के संबंध में उन्होंने मुझे एक बार फिर आश्वस्त किया है कि वो ऐसे तत्वों के विरुद्ध सख्त एक्शन लेते रहेंगे.
Trouble mounts for former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan. Pakistan Defence Minister says Pakistan government mulling a ban on Imran's party. All right, let's quickly cut into the latest news break that we are getting in. Protesting wrestlers will now march to new parliament. Wrestlers to march to new parliament on inauguration day, which is the 28th of this month. A mega women's mahapanchayat also planned at new parliament site. That's the latest that is coming in, what we're given to understand. Also, viewers, one must understand on May 28th, the Prime Minister of the country, Narendra Modi, would be inaugurating the new parliament building, the new Lok Sabha. On the same day, protesting not very far from the new parliament at Jantar Mantar are our wrestlers, our Olympians. They held a candlelight march when they completed 30 days yesterday, but have decided now on the day that the Prime Minister is inaugurating the new temple of democracy, the parliament, the new building, the wrestlers will march in protest for not being heard to the new parliament. This will not happen alone. There is an all-woman Khap Panchayat which will squat outside the new parliament building, or at least that is what their intent is. When I say an all-woman Khap, then all women members associated with the Khap Panchayats, not just in Haryana or even Rajasthan, but members of the Ugrahan faction in Punjab will also be joining in. What we can be given to understand, upwards of 20,000 women will be congregating outside the parliament, asking that whatever the demands of the wrestlers are, those be addressed. Listen in for the latest reaction coming in from the wrestlers.
हमारी खाप पंचायत प्रधान जितने भी संगठन हमारे से जुड़े हैं, उन्होंने पार्लियामेंट के सामने, जो नई पार्लियामेंट है उसके सामने, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग बोल रहे हैं कि वही अंदर घुसने के लिए बोल रहे हैं, शांतिपूर्वक अभी तक हमने सब जो भी कुछ किया शांति प्रिय किया है, और हम शांतिपूर्वक ही हमारी जो मातृ शक्ति है वो खाप पंचायत करेगी, महापंचायत करेंगी, और युवा शक्ति, और वो वहाँ पे जो नया फैसला लेंगे कि आगे कैसे बढ़ना है.
I want to cut across immediately to my colleague Akshay Dongre, but before we do that, I'm going to quickly play again what Bajrang Punia, one of the protesting wrestlers, had to say to my colleague Akshay a short while ago. Till yesterday, there was a protest march marking 30 days of their protest, which took place from Jantar Mantar to India Gate. But now the wrestlers ramping up their protest because what they want is the arrest of Mr. Sharan, who is a BJP MP, Brij Bhushan Sharan. They say that he has been charged. There is an FIR under POCSO where 7 women alleging sexual assault, 7 wrestlers, one of them a minor, have recorded their statements now finally in front of a magistrate, which should mean an imminent arrest. Listen in to Bajrang Punia and we cut across to my colleague Akshay.
हमारे खाप पंचायत प्रधान जितने भी संगठन हमारे से जुड़े हैं उन्होंने पार्लियामेंट के सामने जो नई पार्लियामेंट है उसके सामने क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग बोल रहे हैं कि भाई अंदर घुसने के लिए बोल रहे हैं शांतिपूर्वक अभी तक हमने जो भी कुछ किया शांति प्रिय किया है और हम शांतिपूर्वक ही हमारी जो मातृशक्ति है वो खाप पंचायत करेगी महापंचायत करेंगी और युवा शक्ति और वो वहाँ पे जो नया फैसला लेंगे कि आगे कैसे बढ़ना है.
Let's take you across now to my colleague Akshay Dongre, who joins us from Jantar Mantar. Akshay, what is the plan? 28th of May. It's a sensitive day. The Prime Minister would be inaugurating the new building that we are showing, not very far off from that building, sitting the protesters, the protesting wrestlers. Will they march with the all-women CAP? What is their plan?
Well, Preeti, this is going to be a very, very daring protest if the wrestlers are at all allowed to leave the premises where even I'm standing right now behind. You can see all of these barricades have been set up by the Delhi police and several multiple layers of these barricades are there as far as the Jantar Mantar area is concerned. So the biggest question is that whether the police will even allow this march to take place because the Prime Minister along with several other, all the ministers, the entire cabinet will be there in that particular event where the Prime Minister will be inaugurating the new Parliament building and we are expecting about 20,000 and this is what even the wrestlers are saying. They are giving even a larger number. They're saying that 30 to 40,000 women are expected to be here in the national capital on 28th of May and they all are gonna go and march till the new Parliament where they are going to hold a mahapanchayat, a mahila panchayat and that is going to take place right outside the new Parliament building. The biggest question is that whether the police will be giving a permission for that or not. I asked this question to Bajrang. He said that no permission is required because they are just carrying out another peaceful march. As of now, all of their marches, including the one of yesterday, was extremely peaceful. There was no untoward incident, so he sees no reason the Delhi police denying this permission. But as far as the Prime Minister's security is concerned and the sensitivity of the day is concerned, it is highly unlikely that the wrestlers will be allowed. But they have also made it very clear that they will leave no stone unturned as far as their attempt to reach out to the new Parliament is concerned. And with a crowd of about 20,000 women coming from different parts of the country, especially women who are part of Panchayat, stopping them is going to be a task for the Delhi police if they decide to not let them go and march till the Parliament. But this is the program right now. The wrestlers will be accompanying the women, all the women who are in fact going to who are planning to go to the new Parliament building. And as you rightly mentioned, the the women from Ugraha camp, that was one of the major farmers group that held protest at the Tikri border. They are also going to come, and what we have seen from the farmers protest, the women at the Ugraha camp are in fact they are from all walks of life. They have been leading several of these kind of protests. So what one can assume that if they come here, and the question is if will they be allowed to even enter the national capital, because there are checkings happening. In fact, yesterday's march there were several people who were stopped at the Delhi's border only. So there are going to be several questions that how the wrestlers are going to execute this particular protest, and a very symbolic one that they want to hold a mahapanchayat asking for action against Brij Bhushan Sharan right outside the Parliament building. That is going to be a big question for them, for the wrestlers, that how they are going to execute
Akshay,
this task.
what if permission is not given? In all probability, what we're given to understand is that there will be no permission that will be given. Having said that, the all-women Khap Panchayats and other regional leaders will be marching to the Parliament irrespective. Will the wrestlers then take on the Delhi police and march to the Parliament? What are they saying? What if permission is not given? Then what?
I did ask that question as well, Preeti, because that is the biggest question that it is highly unlikely that there will be any permission given to the wrestlers. I asked this to Bajrang Punia as well, questioning that what if there is no permission. So he said that giving no permission is out of question because they are not planning any violence. They are not planning anything. In a democratic country where a parliament is being inaugurated, they are asking for their democratic right to protest, and that is what they are saying. But if the police stops them, the wrestlers have said it. In fact, Bajrang has told me as well that the wrestlers will, irrespective, try and march till the new parliament building. So there can certainly be some kind of resistance by the Delhi police if they do not give any permission. So it is going to be very, very interesting to see that how the Delhi police tries and persuades the wrestlers, and or on the other hand, how the wrestlers will try and reach out to the new parliament building, because if they do so, it is going to be a huge protest by the wrestlers, and in fact a very symbolic one as well, that the wrestlers walking from the Jantar Mantar protest site, reaching to the new parliament building on the day it is being inaugurated by the Prime Minister himself.
All right, Akshay, appreciate you joining us. You know, there's something, viewers, because we've been raising the protests, we've been raising the questions, the demands of the wrestlers. And there's a very basic premise to all of it. Don't take their word for the gospel truth. If you think there is politics involved, nobody is saying to take their word for what it is. What everyone should be saying and asking is that at least follow due process of law. It took our wrestlers who are Olympians, 15 days to lodge even an FIR. Until now, even though there is an FIR under POCSO, where the statement of a minor has been recorded under section 164 in front of a magistrate, yet where is an impending arrest that one usually sees? Or if not an impending arrest, should not Mr. Brij Bhushan Sharan been brought under the ambit of investigation at least? That's a question which all of us need to ask ourselves. With that, I want to quickly cut across to our other developing story, which is the historical Sengol, which was used to represent power transfer from the British, will be installed in the new Parliament building. This is the same one as the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru received at the time of independence. Here's more.
The new Lok Sabha will have a significant piece of history as it's inaugurated on the 28th of May. A Chora dynasty artifact, Sengol, a golden scepter, will be placed by the Prime Minister next to the Lok Sabha Speaker's seat.
जब संसद भवन का देश को समर्पण होगा, उसी दिन आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी बड़ी विनम्रता के साथ तमिलनाडु से आए हुए अधिनियम से सेंगोल को स्वीकार करेंगे और अत्यंत आदरपूर्वक माननीय लोकसभा के अध्यक्ष के आसन के समीप सम्मान के साथ इसको स्थापित करेंगे।
Sengol, derived from the Tamil word semmai, which means righteousness, was used by the Chora kings to signify transfer of power from one ruler to the other. The Chora kings sought the blessings of Lord Shiva through the passing on of the Sengol. From ancient to modern history, the Sengol became a symbol of transfer of power from Lord Mountbatten, the last Viceroy of British India, to the first Prime Minister of independent India, Jawaharlal Nehru. According to historical accounts, Mountbatten had asked the soon-to-be Prime Minister what would mark the transfer of power when India attains independence. Nehru then turned to see Rajagopalachari, the country's last Governor-General, for advice. Rajagopalachari, fondly called Rajaji, told Nehru about the Tamil tradition of the high priest handing over a scepter to a new king when he comes to power. Rajaji contacted Thiruvadurai Adinam, a prominent mutt in present-day Tamil Nadu. The then seer of the mutt accepted the responsibility. The Sengol was made by Vumidi Bangaru Chetty, a jeweler in then Madras. It is 5 feet in length and has a Nandi bull on top, symbolizing strength, truth and justice.
Top where you see is the Nandi. Since it was a Shaivite Adinam, so they had placed the Nandi right on top. Below that we have a Lakshmi. The Nandi also justifies for justice. So that's what it signifies. And the Lakshmi is for wealth. So the ruler should have the right amount of finances, also should also deliver a right justice to its people.
ये एक महत्वपूर्ण स्थान पर जा रहा था, इसलिए उच्च गुणवत्ता आवश्यक थी। हमें इसके निर्माण का आदेश मिला। यह चांदी से बना था, जिस पर सोने की परत थी। आधीनम के सानिध्य में इस निर्माण से जुड़कर मैं बहुत ही प्रसन्न था।
A senior priest of the mutt first handed over that scepter to Lord Mountbatten, and on the 14th of August, it was unveiled. It was then sprinkled with Ganga Jal, taken in a procession to Prime Minister Nehru, and handed over 15 minutes before midnight when India attained independence.
ये नया संसद भवन प्रधानमंत्री जी की दूरदर्शिता का प्रमाण है, जो नए भारत के निर्माण में हमारी सांस्कृतिक विरासत, परंपरा और सभ्यता को आधुनिकता से जोड़ने का एक सुंदर प्रयास है।
The Sengol is currently in a museum in Allahabad, from where it will be brought to its new address, India's new parliament. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, the dust far from settled where the Karnataka elections are concerned, and the latest controversy revisit. The new Congress government in Karnataka says it will have a rethink on all of the controversial BJP policies, including revoking the hijab ban. This is part of the Siddaramaiah government's wider action plan to what the Congress says desaffronize the state, including the police force. Here's more.
The brand new Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka looks set to launch a desaffronization drive. The new regime could overturn many controversial decisions taken by its predecessor, the BJP, which was seen as communally divisive. First under the lens is the ban on hijab on campuses across the state. The Congress could also review the anti-conversion and anti-cow slaughter bills, which it had described as unconstitutional.
So we will relook at every policy matter that the previous government has brought in. Everything, like I said, cow slaughter or your anti-conversion bill or whatever executive orders that they have passed with respect to moral policing, everything will be relooked into.
AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi has welcomed the Congress move to rethink the hijab ban.
हम शुरू से इस बात का डिमांड कर रहे हैं कि हिजाब बैन अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है। जो बीजेपी की सरकार ने किया था वो आर्टिकल 29 राइट टू कल्चर का ब्लेटेंट वायलेशन है, ग्रॉस वायलेशन है, वो अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है। उस बैन को जाना चाहिए। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी जब ये 2 जजेस बेंच के पास गया तो 2 जजेस ने डिफरिंग ओपिनियन दिया और एक फेवर में जो जजमेंट आया तो उन्होंने यही बात कही है। और आप कैसे रोकेंगे किसी को कपड़ा क्या पहने?
The Siddaramaiah government has already cracked the whip on the police department. At a meeting with top police officers on Tuesday, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar instructed the police to be vigilant against moral policing.
That is what we have instructed all the senior police officers. No saffronization, no moral policing. And to those who are making false news, and action will be initiated against such people. Honorable Chief Minister, former Chief Minister said, why not saffronization? Why not moral policing? We will not allow anyone to take the law into the hands. It may be a congressman, it may be any other political party. No one should take the law into the hands. The law should be protected by the police.
The BJP has accused the Congress of pandering to minority communities.
The Congress government says that these are policies issues where they have to look into in the days to come. However, the experts feel that once the judgment has been passed, there are possibilities that Congress government can go ahead and pass a law or pass an ordinance and bring governing council under education department, and thereafter they can take a decision on hijab. With video journalist Mahesh Sagaraj reporting for India Today, Bengaluru.
A day after a massive welcome for the Prime Minister in Sydney, Prime Minister Modi has wrapped up his Australian tour, bringing an end to his three-nation tour. Modi held a bilateral meeting with his Australian counterpart, Anthony Albanese, sending out a strong message to temple vandalism. Modi said miscreants vandalizing temples in Australia will be strictly dealt with, lauding Albanese for taking strict action and cracking down on the accused. Expressing gratitude to Australia, Prime Minister said he was overwhelmed by yesterday's welcome and that the ties of the two countries have entered T20 mode. Anthony Albanese reiterated that the two nations will keep working together for a better future.
फ्रेंड्स, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मंदिरों पर होने वाले हमलों और अलगाववादी तत्वों की गतिविधियों के संबंध में हमने पहले भी बात की थी और आज भी हमने बात की है। भारत और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के सौहार्दपूर्ण रिश्तों कोई भी तत्व अपने विचारों या अपने एक्शन से आघात पहुंचाए, ये हमें स्वीकार्य नहीं है। प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीजी ने इस संदर्भ में जो कदम उठाए हैं, मैं इसके लिए उनको धन्यवाद देता हूं। साथ ही उन्होंने मुझे एक बार फिर आश्वस्त किया है कि वो ऐसे तत्वों के विरुद्ध सख्त एक्शन लेते रहेंगे।
My visit to India in March for the Australia-India Annual Leaders Summit focused on the key pillars of our relationship: trade, investment and business cooperation, defence and security cooperation, climate and energy cooperation, and of course, people-to-people links. In our bilateral meeting today, Prime Minister Modi and I further built on those pillars. We reiterated our shared ambition for an early conclusion of the Australia-India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement later this year.
With that, viewers, I'm going to go into a quick break. Stay with me. On the other side is our fact check segment.
The heart of India's tech industry hosts a tectonic event. The latest updates in technology and innovation. The biggest names in Indian tech under one roof. From AI to 5G. From EVs to data security. Discover how technology is transforming our lives. Catch all the action at the BT Tech Today Congress in Bengaluru on June 2nd. Live across the Business Today multiverse.
In terms of the geographical contribution of your revenues, take our viewers through how much of your business and profitability accrues from overseas operations and India. And in India, for example, fiber rollouts with Indian operators, you have orders worth 1,000 crore, for example.
Yes, absolutely. I think, and this is in line with the strategy of the company to continue to be global in our optical business in particular. So today where we are is broadly about 75-80% of our revenue comes from the optical business and balance comes from our services business, and a small portion is now starting to emerge from our IT services business. So in that context, our optical business, which is the largest business, a good portion, probably north of 80% of our revenue comes from outside of India, primarily from Europe and North America. So this is where we also shared in our result that over the span of last few quarters, we've been able to go very significantly from over 14% of our revenue coming from North America to almost 35-38% of our revenue coming from North America. So we're very, very proud of that growth that's happened. In India as well, that what you touched upon, we continue to be very positive about the deployment of 5G in India. I think we have somewhere between 50-60 million 5G users currently. And I think our own view is we will get to almost 200-250 million subscribers in the next 2 to 3 years. So a significant amount of network deployment, network expansion And on the back of that, fiberization will happen.
Welcome back. You're watching our fact check segment where we bust fake news. There's a claim suggesting Karnataka Congress leader objected to Bhumi Pujan. The fact check on that, this is a 2022 video of DMK MP objecting to Bhumi Pujan. Nothing to do with the Karnataka Congress. With that fact check, time for me to slip into a break. Stay with me. On the other side is To The Point.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today Newsmo. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Powered by Voltas Pure Air 6-stage adjustable AC.
Co-powered by
The world comes together at Sharda University. Tata Altroz. OMG, it's the Altroz iCNG.
Good evening. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhry. And the big political controversy of the day running up to the 28th of May when the new parliament will be inaugurated. Well, you've got a new parliament, but the politics is old. At a time when every opposition neta is coming together, or rather, many would think, should be celebrating that India's new parliament building is going to be inaugurated. 19 political parties have decided to boycott the event. Why? Because they say that the new parliament building should have been inaugurated as per protocol by President Murmu and not Prime Minister Modi. The BJP in counter cites instances of Indira and Rajiv Gandhi both inaugurating, or rather in one case laying the foundation stone for Parliament Annexy and the Parliament Library. Where does it stand? The politics of it all. Here's more.
The Republic of India is set to get a new parliament on Sunday. The Temple of Democracy, as the house is often described, will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And when he unveils the state-of-art facility built at a cost of 1,200 crore rupees, roughly 240 members of parliament or 30% of the total strength of the house will be missing in the audience. That is because 19 opposition parties have decided to skip the event. The government is unfazed.
अब 28 मई को प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी उसी को देश के सामने रखेंगे, गर्व का क्षण होगा और इस क्षण पर सभी को गर्वान्वित होना चाहिए, सबको उपस्थित रहना चाहिए।
हमने तो भारत सरकार ने सबको विनंती किया है कि आप उपस्थित रहिए, सब अपनी अपनी भावना के अनुसार करेंगे।
The opposition is demanding the parliament building will be inaugurated by the head of the state, President of India Draupadi Murmu, the first citizen from a tribal community to hold the office. They claim the Narendra Modi government has undermined the office of president by not inviting Murmu to attend the historic occasion.
The way in which you undermine the President of India, the first woman tribal President of India, where is the justification? You are violating the constitutional principles. We are violating the protocols.
संविधान सर्वोपरि है इस भावना की पुष्टि होती, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री जी की अपनी चॉइस है, कहाँ सुनते हैं लोगों की। कोई भी ऐसी चीज न हो जिससे महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी के मान में कोई कमी आए। यही अभी भी मैं आग्रह करूंगा प्रधानमंत्री जी से कि इसमें कोर्स करेक्शन की बेहद आवश्यकता है।
The government has its defense. It points to past occasions when a Prime Minister has inaugurated facilities associated with Parliament when the Congress was in power.
स्पीकर साहब ने प्रधानमंत्री जी को इनवाइट किया है और इसके साथ ही साथ पार्लियामेंट प्रीमाइसेस में ही पहले प्रधानमंत्री जो थे उन लोगों ने भी बहुत बिल्डिंग वगैरह उद्घाटन किए है। तो इसीलिए ये ऐसे कारण लेके एक ऐसा अच्छा कार्यक्रम बाइकआउट करना ये बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है।
अगस्त 1975 की, जब इंदिरा जी प्रधानमंत्री थी, उन्होंने पार्लियामेंट एनेक्स की इनॉग्रेशन की थी। ठीक है, दूसरी डेट है जहां तक मुझे याद आता है 87 की 15 अगस्त 87 में राजीव जी जब प्रधानमंत्री थे उन्होंने पार्लियामेंट लाइब्रेरी की। अगर आपके हेड ऑफ गवर्नमेंट इनॉग्रेट कर सकते हैं पार्लियामेंट की एनेक्सी को और लाइब्रेरी को, तो हम इस समय के हेड ऑफ गवर्नमेंट क्यों नहीं कर सकते?
A question of property or pure politics, a battle of egos or a fight of principles. Whatever may be the reason, the face-off between the government and the opposition has cast a shadow on what will be a historic occasion for India and a proud moment for every Indian. Bureau Report, India Today.
So what's the political issue? Is the opposition banding together? What we're given to understand, 19 opposition parties will boycott the event. Is it much ado about nothing? Is it a battle of egos? Shouldn't they come together? Ultimately, the new parliament is a symbol of democracy. Or is there more to it? Should it be not the President Murmu, who as per Article 60 and 111 of the Constitution is the head of the Parliament? Well, let's take it to our panelists this evening. Salman Soz, spokesperson, Congress; Niti Jain, spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party. In a short while from now, we'll be joined by Rahul Sinha, National Affairs Editor. Mr. Soz, the fact is, for a political party which espouses to be the savior of democracy to boycott an event which actually showcases, in terms of sheer optics, the symbol of democracy, the new parliament, isn't it counterproductive for the Congress?
Well, first, we're not claiming to be saviors of democracy, but we are concerned about India's democracy, as everyone should be in India. You see, once this building, Parliament building was, once the Prime Minister set out on this path, even though we had great misgivings about not just democracy, but about this particular project, and that too being done at during the COVID-19 pandemic, when people were dying by their millions and dead bodies were floating down Indian rivers. That is a time that this project was green flagged. And despite all that, despite our reservations, we were open to marking this occasion with everybody across the political spectrum. Unfortunately, however, the fact that the Prime Minister has decided that he himself is going to inaugurate the building, this new building, and not just that. That is after laying the foundation stone. Not just that. Not inviting President Murmu, not having the Vice President there, who's the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Basically, we feel that his authoritarian streak continues, and his anti-democratic instincts remain strong as ever. You know, the Constitution of India states in Article 79 that there shall be a parliament for the Union, and which shall consist of the President and the two houses, which will be known as the Council of States and the House of the People. Now, that is what the Constitution says. So the President is not only the head of the state of India, but is also integral to the Parliament. The President basically summons Parliament. No act of Parliament can be, notified without the President's authorization. So basically, Parliament without the President is nothing. It's just a building, and that is what this is, and that is why I think it is. We should not dignify this ceremony by being there when the President is being insulted. And by the way, one final point on this, please. We want India to be an inclusive country. And when the nation celebrates its first woman, Adivasi president, not inviting her to such a momentous occasion tells us that there is something gravely wrong with this, and we will not dignify this.
But, Mr. Soz, if you're going to be quoting the Constitution and protocol, then being woman, being Adivasi, being Dalit or being tribal has nothing to do with it. What you're saying is that the President is the head of the Parliament as per Article 60 and 111 of the Constitution. But, Mr. Soz, I have a very basic question, and I'm going to bring in your counterpart from the BJP as well into this. The question is, we're talking about the Constitution, but in that context, it was violated by our own party. That is what the BJP says in the year 1975 and the year 1987, where you had an Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister, who actually inaugurated the annexy of the Parliament, or the Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in 1987, who laid the foundation stone of the Parliament Library. So it's happened, known to have happened before.
No. But first of all, this whataboutery is totally out of place. In the case of the Parliament Annex, it was the foundation stone was laid by the President of India. In front, the Prime Minister was there, the Vice President was there, and the President of India laid the foundation stone. In this case, and by the way, that is the Parliament House Annex, a site building. This is the Parliament we're talking about, and here the Prime Minister himself lays the foundation stone, and he's going to inaugurate it. And the President of India is not going to be invited. And mind you, today, the President of India was invited to inaugurate the Jharkhand High Court building with the Chief Justice of India. This is very strange that the judiciary is inviting the President, because obviously she's President for everybody. But the Parliament, she's the head of Parliament, and she's not invited. That is very strange to us.
Okay, Niti Jain, I want to bring you in. Just stay with us, Mr. Soz. Niti Jain, the fact is, various examples have been given by the BJP, some by Mr. Joshi and some, by Hardeep Puri. And I just want to delve in a little deeper, because the argument right now is that the Prime Minister and not the President, who, as per the Constitution, arguably is the head of Parliament, and she should be the one inaugurating the new Parliament. Niti Jain, the question that is that when you're talking about, in the case of Indira Gandhi, and inaugurating, or rather laying the foundation stone for the annexy. Now, the foundation of the Parliament House annexy was laid, in fact, on the 3rd of August, 1970 by Mr. V.V. Giri, the then President of the country, but was inaugurated on October 24th, 1975 by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. So the foundation stone was laid by the President. The other example, while the foundation stone for the library, laid by Rajiv Gandhi on August 15th, 1987, the Bhumi Pujan was performed by the then Lok Sabha Speaker Shivraj Patil on 17th April 1994. It was inaugurated by the then President, Mr. K.R. Narayanan, in 2002. In this case, there were issues in terms of the opposition coming up and suggesting that the Prime Minister conducted the Bhumi Pujan. We all saw that. And he's the one who's going to be inaugurating the building. Where does that leave the role of who is supposed to be the head of the Parliament, the President?
Okay, Preeti, I think that we are getting into this debate today because apparently one of the opposition members woke up on the right side of the bed and thought this is the topic that we need to discuss. You have already spoken about the precedents, but I would have taken these people seriously had this parliament building, the entire central vista was not an issue ever since it started. So they had a problem with the national emblem having sharp teeth and it looked aggressive. Then they did not know which statue to be erected in that canopy near the India Gate. Then they had issues with the Bhumi Pujan, and they've had several issues. They're talking about the president today. The constitution also says that the joint parliamentary meets that the president addresses needs to be attended by the entire opposition. They chose to disrespect the president's chair not once, but I think twice, if I'm not mistaken. Even on 28th January 21, the opposition did not attend an address by the President Kovind then, and on 1st Feb 23 by President Murmu. So their inconsistency in raising the issue is far more evident than the issues that they are raising today.
Okay.
I think the opposition today is simply indulging in politics of having no agenda. The only agenda that they're working today is anti-BJP.
But Niti Jain, you know what the opposition is saying.
Trying to do.
Right. Niti Jain, what the opposition is also saying that you might call them inconsistent on their stand when it comes down to the president or the parliament, but they are saying you're consistent by completely letting down the post of the president in this case. You did it at the time of the Bhumi Pujan and you're doing it right now.
No, so we are letting down the president simply because this is an event that is organized by the Lok Sabha Secretariat, and the Prime Minister is inaugurating the event, but they are not letting down the president when they boycott the entire address by the president, and then they take a high road, and today they take a high road. They cannot win every time with whatever they do. We can come into a discussion and all of those things. This is not
Niti Jain, I want to bring in
wrong.
Rahul Srivastava as well. Right. I want to bring in Rahul Srivastava into this conversation. But okay, what is the reason why the president wasn't chosen or invited rather to inaugurate the new parliament building? Because she is the head of the parliament as per the constitution, and like I said, arguably so, it can be argued both ways. Go ahead. Niti Jain?
Sorry, that was for me?
Yes, ma'am.
So, like I said, this is an event that is being organized by the Lok Sabha Secretariat. But again, the point is, what if and what not can be discussed to eternity. This is a building, and again, this was the Congress that had asked for a new parliament building, and then they come out and say कि नहीं हमें अब जरूरत नहीं है. Then they go to Supreme Court saying what Mr. Soos just said, that so much is being spent on the parliament. The Supreme Court rejected that as well. I think 14 parties had gone there to get an order against the building of this parliament.
So you're saying it's okay. It's a new excuse. The rancor is old. It's just a new excuse. Okay. So that's what you're saying. I'm coming right back.
Excuse every time something happens.
You know, I'm going to come back because ultimately, Rahul Srivastava, it's not so much about being woman, about being tribal, about being Dalit, about whatsoever. It's the position of the president. Should the president, as per protocol, be inaugurating the new parliament building? That's the question, and that's what needs to be discussed. Rahul Srivastava.
Preeti, this question confronted me when last year in July, Prime Minister unveiled that lion statue right on top of the new parliament building. And I spent nearly 6.5 hours inside the parliament library going through the old parliamentary records. Now, Article 79 of the Constitution, 79, says that there shall be a parliament and it will consist of the president, the Council of States and the House of People. That means Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha and the President. Article 53(1) says that the executive powers of the Union are vested in the President of India. That means the President is the head of the executive and the constituent of the Parliament. So it is the President who is the most relevant person as far as such inaugurations are concerned. I will stick my neck out on this. It is constitutionally very clear. There is absolutely no ambiguity over this issue. Why it has been done? It has primarily been done that invite has gone to the Prime Minister. In the past 2020 foundation stone laying also similar thing happened, primarily because of the order of precedence. Because if the President of India is there, he is the senior most functionary in the government, in the Constitution of India. If he is there, then it is not the Prime Minister who will be inaugurating it, or not the Vice President. And that is why, since President and the Vice President are senior, in the order of President to the Prime Minister, invites are not sent to the President and the Vice President. That's the reason why the invites are not sent. But there is a catch, Preeti. I have always maintained it is not whataboutery. Any bad start in a democracy eventually becomes a habit. And it becomes a habit which is so bad that I will tell you when it happened for the first time. I researched this and I found out that on the 28th of August 1947, the first portrait inside Parliament was unveiled by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the President of India. That was of a 4x4 portrait of Mahatma Gandhi. After that, the second was inaugurated on July 28th, 1956. It was not the President of India. It was not the Speaker, Mr. Mavlankar, who inaugurated. It was Jawaharlal Nehru. After that, 25 portraits, out of them 20 inaugurated by the Prime President, but others have been inaugurated by Pandit Nehru, VP Singh and Chandrasekhar. After that, you have already taken the names of the Parliament Annex building and the Parliament Library building. Prime Ministers have either laid foundation or of the two buildings or have inaugurated it. Then comes the only time the Speaker of Lok Sabha has inaugurated since 1953 was on the March 13th, 1953. Mr. Mavlankar unveiled the portrait of Dadabhai Nauroji. So the President and the Speaker and the Vice Presidents have been ignored. This is a precedence that if today it is wrong, I agree it can be constitutionally incorrect. But then everybody has to agree that if today it is wrong, then even in 1947 and 48 and 53 and everything, it was all mistakes being committed. A series of mistakes are being committed in violation of what the Constitution says. The spirit is being defeated.
Therefore, Mr. Soz, it's a little rich coming in from the Congress party because you've done it yourself. So to come out and now accuse the BJP of what you stand guilty of is a little rich.
I think I will let your audience and the people of India decide whether inaugurating an entirely new building of Parliament is the same as inaugurating a portrait of a leader. So I let the people decide. I personally don't.
Madam, wait your turn. Madam, wait your turn. I'm coming right back. Yeah, please. Okay, yes. Go ahead, Mr. Soz.
I did not disturb anyone, so please do not disturb me when I'm speaking. So I do think that the BJP spokesperson said, and if I'm not mistaken, she said that we let the president down because this was being organized by the Lok Sabha.
No, I didn't.
Who decides? Quite frankly, this is, to my mind, this is a laughable proposition. This is not a Lok Sabha event. This is a Parliament of India event. The Parliament of India is headed by the President of India, not the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, by the way, mind you, in India, we have separation of powers under the Constitution. So the executive, which is the Prime Minister, is separate from Parliament, which is where the Lok Sabha Speaker and the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha come in. Let me just finish. I think what we are seeing here is a pattern. This is a pattern of abuse of power. And do I have to remind you that only in 2019, when the National War Memorial was being inaugurated, who inaugurated it? The Prime Minister. Who's the Supreme Commander of India's defense forces? The President of India. But President Ramnath Kovind was not invited. So this is a pattern with this gentleman, with this president, and I know there's a cult of personality around him. Maybe BJP is comfortable around that. But I can tell you that things are not going that well.
But Mr. Soz, that's what, the argument from the other side is you laid the blueprint. They're only refining it further. But Niti Jain, you wanted to come in for a rebuttal. Go ahead.
I think this gentleman said it is not the same to inaugurate a picture and the Parliament. Sir, it is not our fault that for 75 years you did not think of making something that was India. You did not celebrate the culture that was India. You did not know for more than 50 years about which statue to erect at the India Gate canopy. That is not our fault. Had you done it, I'm sure it would have been your Prime Ministers, because you did not think beyond the Gandhi Nehru family for anything. Half the things you've opened are named after all of those people. So it is very rich of you to come and give us a lecture about the Constitution. Like Mr. Shrivastava just there has been a lot of precedent where your prime ministers have taken a similar step. So why is it that that wisdom evades you when it's your turn, and your entire wisdom comes up and the constitution comes up now? It did not come up when you evoked the entire emergency on the entire country. Where was the constitution then? So it is very rich of you to come up and talk about all of these issues when it is the BJP that is doing the work, that is bringing back the culture. We are making India proud nationally and internationally. And now is it, I'm very thankful that you say it is the people of this country that should decide about this entire matter, because I know where the country stands on this matter. Every day you have come up with a different excuse on this entire thing. And the last point that I want to make is that this event is going to go down in history for at least the next century. By by not being a part of this event, I think it is going to hurt you more than the BJP, because the inauguration is going to happen on the 28th.
Okay, we let history decide on what the importance of this event is. But what I'm going to do is I want to just quickly bring in Rahul Srivastava for one final time into this conversation. Rahul, it's interesting because we have past precedents. One thing is very clear, that it is the president ultimately that is the head of the parliament. But always very, I would reckon, convenient to quote one part of history and leave the other. And I would reckon this is going down the same path.
Preeti, on the 18th of January 1927, when Lord Irwin inaugurated the old Parliament building, he read out a message from the King. And it said that the Parliament building is supposed to guide India to fashion a future well. I think the BJP could have been different. The BJP had promised to be different. Right now, the Congress is no different from what the BJP is doing. And I think, as Mr. Soos said, yes, the people will decide that why no political party in power has been different.
All right, so we're going to leave it for the people to decide, and no, we are not calling out on which side of history will the people stand on. Let them make up their minds. We've decided and given the true picture of where it stands. Appreciate you joining us. We'll see you at 9 p.m. again with the same debate. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Niti. That's it. Up next, Gaurav Sawant.
Summers are devastating for stray animals. The scorching heat wave means animals living on the street struggle for water. Karma Foundation is on a mission to make life easy for stray animals.
This water bowl challenge is also one of such initiatives where we know during the scorching heats of summer has to provide the basic requirement for the health of the pet, which is water, and hence we are actually donating the water bowls.
These water bowls are a big relief for stray animals living under the open sky in sweltering weather. Karma Foundation has requested people to join their movement by placing a bowl of water outside their home or workplace. Bureau Report, India Today.
Forecast now. Delhi, maximum 42 and minimum 24 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 33 and minimum 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 38 and minimum 24 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 32 and minimum 23 degrees. Chennai, maximum 35 and minimum 28 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 38 and minimum 27 degrees.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
A cricket coaching center exclusively for girls. This sports academy in Dharoki village near Patiala is fueling the dreams of girls who aspire to play in the Indian Premier League for women. Gulab Singh Shegil, a policeman, set up the coaching center in his farmland. Shegil, who could not realize his dream of becoming a cricketer, is now training